Hello there, it's Megan from Art Garden Oracle. This is part 2 of my mini deck collection. Round 1 of just tarot decks. Marseille and Lenormand went way longer than I expected, so I broke it down. And yeah, these are all of my, I'm going to start with Oracle decks and then go into some playing card decks and alternative kind of playing card systems. The first deck I'll show is the Answer deck. This is an Oracle deck. It's almost in the vein of like alternative systems though, because it's not, I mean, you can just use it to pull a card and clarify things. But then it has this like really big mat where it kind of has this past, present, future outcome layout that it's meant for, I guess you could say. It's a brand new deck to me. I've read through the book and the like layout system that it has, but I really like decks like this. I have a few that I'll kind of show in quick succession with this one that are really like, I would certainly do the reading as it's intended from the book, but I also just like cards that are really simple, clear clarifiers, whether I'm using it with a tarot deck or in a spread. Yeah, I like these that just can be like, I really need to understand there's like a million angles this archetype could give in this tarot reading, and certainly you can clarify with another tarot card, but I really like these just kind of simple clarifier decks for Oracle decks, and so I use these a lot, and this is a great one for that sort of thing. So it just has a really clear word, a really clear image, and is very easy to read at face value. What I do like in the book, it gives, it basically says like, read all these cards at face value except for, and it gives, sorry, let me find it. It gives just a few, there's like literally 5 cards that it gives a little bit extra meaning for or clarity around. And then it just says every other card read at face value. So, super cool, clean palette, goes with a lot of things, very direct, great for clarifying. And yeah, I love, sometimes I want a deck where it's like, I want to read all about it, I want to learn something, I want a deep dive, I want to like have a whole spiritual journey. And then sometimes I'm like, I just need to understand what this card says, please. And yeah, that's a great one for that sort of thing. Another one that I use in the way I just described is the Sovereign Oracle. Sorry, I know I'm bumping, but I have a pile that's falling down. The Sovereign Oracle, sorry, this is a mass market deck. There it is. Nicholas Zahn. So he's the artist and creator of the deck. The Sovereign Oracle by Teresa Pridemore. She's out of Portland. She has a website where you can get her decks, and I think there's like expansion packs to these, or like, I think specific ones that are like geared toward business or geared toward love or something like that. I can't remember, but this is kind of the basic one. It has 90 cards, over 90 cards, 93 cards. And yeah, it's just a great, simple, fast reader or clarifier, and I really like that about it. It goes with everything just because it has these kind of photographic background images that work really, really well. And then this deck is just great for all purposes. It's great for clarifying. It's great for journal prompt. You can use it as a spread crafter type thing. So you can lay out, 3 and say, and then draw an oracle or a tarot card for like, how do I create order in my life? How can I thrive? Where do I need to be more vulnerable? Or, you can create spreads out of it. So it's great deck for when you're kind of stuck and you don't know what question to ask or what information, how to go about asking something or how to use your cards that day, but you need to go to the oracle for some reason. So I like to use it in that way. Yeah, it's great for meditation. I think I already said a great journal prompt thing. So I love this deck. I love how tiny it is so that you can like really work with it in a lot of different ways. I love the many different ways that you can use it. It's a great gift deck for people who maybe don't do tarot or oracle, but just like have a mindfulness practice. So I gave it to a friend who uses it very much in that way. Really great deck. And like the answer deck is just kind of a, you know, you don't have to go into a big book or anything like that. I would say that's what I probably like the most about these mini decks too, is like some of them, like the Art Tarot that I showed in the other video, I need to go to the guidebook for, but I also love a lot of these mini decks for everything you need is either on the card or very quick to read afterwards. This is the Forest Fae. I have a number of these little guys. I keep this one on my desk. I love it. I kind of hate to say I've started using this one more often than I use Brian Froud's fairy deck, which I honestly really miss the fairy deck, so I need to bring it back out and use it, start using it again more often. But this is a beautiful deck it's a beautiful Fae deck. It's done really well. It's a really profound reader. I love the characters. I love the keywords and the little, you know, saying afterward. I love that it's not just like beautiful, you know, women kind of fairies. It's like all of these different, very steeped in nature beings that are just lovely and beautiful. And I really like this one a lot. This was the last of these little mini decks that I got. And it's probably my favorite, which that's hard for me to say because I like the ones I have a lot, but this one's my favorite by far. These ones, did I show the back? Yeah, these all have the same back, and then all different illustrations on the front. Okay, so this is a Frida, inspired by Frida by Carl Pratam. These are not her paintings. They are paintings he made in inspiration of her work. And I do really like his artwork. I believe it's him. I'll just say they. I like their artwork very much, and it does really give me Frida connection in his artwork, their artwork. What I don't love is the sayings on the back, and that is kind of a bummer because I was really looking for a Frida deck, and this was before I thought I would put Tarot Avatar on my list someday, and still that one feels really far off for me just in terms of affordability and having kind of a long list to kind of work through, especially on a low buy year. But yeah, what I don't love is a lot of these. She's one of my favorite artists and biggest inspiration as an artist, and I feel like a lot of these sayings on the back really don't speak to her spirit, and so I still pull from time to time in my creative practice some of these cards, but sometimes if the saying annoys me or doesn't read like with very much Frida energy, then I'll just look at the picture and think fondly of her or, you know, look up her artwork or I've thought about like taping over the ones that really bother me and putting a real quote from her or something from her journal or something like that on there. I'm not quite sure. I might end up modding this someday because I do like seeing her represented in such a beautiful way on so many cards, but the sayings on the back don't fit her well. Some of them do. It's like, go to the depth of your heart. Like, yeah, maybe. But they're a little bit cheesy, and I feel like a jerk saying that. But and to me, Frida 100% is not cheesy at all. And so she's very authentic and very powerful and very grounded and very just like fierce. And so that energy doesn't come through in the sayings they chose to put on the cards. So that was kind of a bummer deck for me, but I'll still keep it because I love the artwork so much. All the other ones were not bummer decks, and I did a lot of research to make sure that I really liked everything about the rest of these decks. So this is Chakra Love. This is part of my yoga deck collection. I went and got it from my practice space. So these are watercolors. most of them seem like watercolors of different crystals. It looks kind of abstract, but obviously it's like really super close up of the crystal. And then when you flip the card over, so every card's different, you get not only a chakra. Hold on, let me try and organize these so I don't pull the same deck again. You get a chakra, you get the name of the crystal that's depicted on the back in case you can't tell what it is, and then you get like a keyword with a little key phrase. And these are so great as chakra cards. They're so great as little meditation cards. So I don't know, this deck is awesome because I feel like it's my crystal deck. I don't have another crystal deck. I do work with crystals in real life. Obviously, they're kind of hanging out all over the place. So I haven't felt like I needed a crystal deck per se. I have a couple chakra decks, but I don't know. I just love like how simple this one is and how beautiful and kind of multi-purpose it is. It's just a great little deck. So yeah, I keep this in my yoga room so that if I need to incorporate chakra practice into, or chakra work into my yoga routine, or I just need some crystal energy, or yeah, just like a little mantra inspiration for my yoga practice, I will pull that guy out. I'm going to do all of these little, who makes them? Rockpool? I'm going to pull it over and make sure. I think they're Rockpool, yeah. So these are, I'm just going to show you all of my Rockpool decks. This is Avalon Magic. I really like this one a lot. It, again, has that fairy tale vibe, but it also has a lot of really beautiful Celtic energy, obviously. And I really like the sayings and the artwork. It's a little bit more like, I don't know. It kind of goes back to that child fairy tale energy for me that I was talking about a little bit in my tarot mini deck video. But yeah, it's beautiful and it works really well with some of my like goddess decks or my Celtic decks that I use. I have a lot of Celtic ancestry, and so sometimes I'll use those decks for ancestry work too. But it's, yeah, it's great. Really great sayings on the back, really beautiful artwork. Goes with a lot of decks that aren't my like typical aesthetic, and so I might not have like tons of pairing options for, but I find it really beautiful and lovely. So that is the Avalon deck. Avalon Magic, sorry, by Rose and Sarah. And some of these Rockpool decks, if you look at them or if you've seen other videos, some of them have all the same artwork and just different sayings on the back. And some of those, there's like a forest one that's really beautiful. But for some reason, I mean, the visuals are really important to me. I really just was drawn more to the ones that have different artwork on each card. Again, I just want like everything to be as multi-purpose as possible, I guess. I'm not sure. This guy is Making Magic. There is a larger circular deck version of this. I like the little mini guy because I use these as altar cards. So I don't really use these to clarify a reading. I use them in spell work or in altar work. So these have different sigils, which are really great. And I don't know. Yeah, they're just really wonderful on my altar, whether I'm building, just like doing a meditation about something or trying to bring I almost use them affirmation style on my altar. I'm just trying to bring a certain energy into my life. Like I'm working on breaking a bad habit. And so I put that on my altar. And so between the sigil power of the visual image, that's almost, to me, you know, I mean, that's what they're intended, but I use them almost like a visual magic spell. And then just seeing all of it with the keywords and I love this like self-acceptance, excellent mental health, and letting go of vices. So they work great on altars, but also would work very well with readings or, I don't know, again, one of those things that could be a journal practice, a meditation practice, would work great in all of those scenarios. So I love this deck. Very simple, but very powerful and like a lot more than meets the eye. So maybe not simple. Priestess Moon is the creator of that one, by Andres Ingracia. So this is a photographic little mini Rockpool guy. So it has these, like, for the most part, really lovely photo images, and every card is a different one. There's a couple that maybe like aren't the most beautiful photograph, but that's okay. For the most part, I find them to be really beautiful. And then what I really like the most with these is the writing on the back. So some of them will have like symbols that are Celtic or Druid symbolism, but then it has an amazing little message that's very grounded and not super woo-woo, which is important to me. And then it has either like a kind of mantra or almost like a little spell at the bottom of each card. So that references often crystals. So wear lapis lazuli for spiritual guidance and initiations, which I really like that too. So I'll use this as like a really great oracle, not to just like, I use it with decks or to clarify something. I already mentioned I have Celtic background, and so this can tie into some of those ancestry decks too. But I often will just pull cards. Honestly, I use this on its own to get the message, but also to get just like, what's a way to bring a little magic into my day or put a little intention into my day. I don't do a ton of like, I'm definitely not like Wiccan. I don't do ceremonial magic or any of that sort of stuff. It just feels not my practice. And so it's a great way to kind of bring a little magic into my day, or to bring a little spell work into my day that's very grounded and simple and straightforward. And so I love this deck for that purpose. Yeah, meditate on the Two of Cups tarot card. A potential new partnership lies ahead. So this deck, I more so than the imagery, which I like the imagery, it's perfectly fine, but I really, of all the decks, this one probably has the, I think, coolest kind of writing on the back of all of these Rockpool decks. So that is finally the end of my mini Rockpool deck thing. And these guys are all usually like $12, I want to say, mass market online. Okay, so I've shown these a bunch on my channel already as well. These are mini Divis from Holly Audley. I love her work so much. She's a Southern artist, and her work is just so fun and sweet and cute, but also very meaningful and awesome. So I keep meaning to make a little bag for these. I just haven't got there yet. So I have the Ghost mini Divi and the Opposites mini Divi. She makes like 3 or 4 more mini Divis, and she also makes the Teeny Tiny Tarot, which is a lovely little deck. And then she has a couple other decks as well. So these are obviously meant to be reversible, but she really like cleverly did the illustrations for these where all the images relate to each other in a really cool way. And I just love the ghosts. I love the ghost cards so much. They're just really sweet and quirky and fun. So she's another one that, kind of like the Halloween tarot, she reminds me of that energy where it's like light and fun and can kind of be fun to look at and uplifting. But then there's a lot of depth and beautiful like discovery in her work too. I don't have the rest of her Divis or Teeny Tiny Tarot yet. Again, it's one of those things that's been on my list for a really long time, but I've just kind of done what I could afford. So these mini Divis I think are $14 each. The whole package of like all the tiny stuff that she has is like $100, so I couldn't quite go all in. But yeah, this is an example of like fortify and corrode, and the way the chains like on this half very clearly show fortification, but then linking them together, showing the opposite side of that is really cool too. I should have got these all going in the same direction. But yeah, the ghost one, ectoplasm, it's okay to not have all the answers. Shapeshifter, things are not what they seem. Just a cool, I love these decks. They're really awesome. And what I said about these in another video and why I use them, where I use them the most and why I love them the most is sometimes just on their own, but they work so well because they're so graphic and kind of simple in their artistry. They work with a lot of decks that are hard to pair with. So with the Halloween Tarot, for example, like that's one that I probably don't have any decks that pair with the Halloween Tarot, or very few. Holly Audley's mini divvies work for decks like that. It also, they go really well with like the Zombie Tarot. Like that's another one where I was like, gosh, like what do I put with the Zombie Tarot if I want a little clarification oracle? And Mini Divi works so well with the Zombie Tarot. So it's definitely one of those decks that I can, oracles that I can put with a lot of decks that I don't know what else to pair them with when I need it. This is the deck of character. I love this deck so much. Who puts it together? Hannah, aka Mama of the DOC. If you Google deck of character, you will find it. Deck of character, thedeckofcharacter.com. So I got this online. It's an independent, but it's very affordable. I want to say it's like I think it's $30 or less. So it is just a little kind of scribble deck, and it has a little bit of a system to it. It has places, characters, and tools. And so you can separate the deck into those three and, like, you know, ask a question that is specific to, like, you know, what do I need to work, you know, what do I need to use to get through the situation? You know, where is it leading me, and who will I be when I get there? You know, you can kind of do this kind of character place tool questions. What I like to do, is, and I use this deck by itself a lot, but it works great with so many decks, as you can imagine. It's kind of like Sovereign Oracle, and what I was saying about the answer deck is it's one of those that doesn't have a guidebook. You can just kind of flip it over and get clarification, and it works really, really well in that capacity. Like, it doesn't maybe seem like it just looking at the simplicity of the cards and kind of how random some of these are, but I've used this with a number of decks. I used it with like the Start Power Tarot recently, which is a really quirky deck and would be hard to pair things with. And I paired it with this, and it read so, I couldn't believe how deep of a reading I could get using this as a clarification with that tarot. But yeah, I even used it for a Pluto into Aquarius reading that I did. That is, you know, like a 30-year-long transit. And just like, I was kind of freaked out about some of the things I was seeing about Pluto. So I was like, I need to chill. I need to get a reading. And so, like, what does Pluto and Aquarius look like for me? But it, like the poop card, it's literally just like a doodle of a poo, you know? But in context of a reading, like, that means so much. Like, what are you digesting? What do you need to get out of your system? What do you need to get out of your body? You can go so deep with the most simple things sometimes. Sometimes when a creator puts a lot more layering and info into something, it can really narrow what the reading says to you a little bit too much. So this deck is amazing, and it's relatively new, and I'm in love with it, and I already want to use it all the time. So it's such a good one. Okay. This is, nope, I'm going to show this one with that stuff. So this is my only, what do you call it? Knockoff deck. And I did not buy this, for clarity. Please don't get mad at me. This was given to me by a wonderful person who knew I like tarot and oracle, but doesn't know how the whole scene with counterfeit decks and how that all works. So it was not intentional on their part to get a counterfeit deck. They didn't understand what that meant, and they gave it to me as a gift, and I want to treasure it for that purpose. So what I did to kind of make things right, because I didn't have, this was another one on my list that I just hadn't needed to get yet. So what I did to make it right was I purchased a deck because I got this counterfeit one, and I gifted it. So that was my way to accept a gift from someone with love and knowing it was given with love, but then to try and make it right for the artist too. So just as an FYI, but I kept the gift because I love this person and it was so sweet that they thought of me. So this is a knockoff, very tiny Woodland Warden deck. And I haven't used it yet because the guidebook, of course, is linked by the QR code, and I need to do a little bit of reading on that. But I do like the idea of having this as a mini version, since this is what came to me, and being able to use it again, like with being able to use lots of Oracle cards around a tarot deck and not take up a ton of space. So I just wanted to show that briefly. I in no way condone counterfeit decks, and try to bring a ton of awareness. And I did report, you know, the website that this is linked to and everything. So this is When My Soul Whispered Oracle deck. This is a mass market by Melissa Salvaggio, artwork by Jess O'Connor. It's a really sweet little simple, beautiful watercolor deck, very clean and yeah, like can go with a lot of things, can be a really calming, simple deck to use on its own. But then what looks like such a kind of run-of-the-mill maybe Oracle deck also has this really, really cool guidebook, which I'll show you in a second. So it has that really nice edging on it. It's kind of gold, but the not sharp version of it. I describe it as almost like a dusty gold edging. That's not the right words, but just really lovely, simple little deck. But then the guidebook is actually really, really cool, and I like it a lot. So it is all very based on chakra work. So it has a great quote, a great little write-up on the card, and then it talks about the shadow sides of the archetype, the light sides of the archetype. There's an affirmation and then a chakra association, and kind of like a reflection or journal prompt, or and almost like a spell or like a practice to go with each card. So even though it's so simple and just kind of, it's not so much my aesthetic, it's one of those that I like because it can just be like a simple, easy to pair Oracle deck that goes with a lot of things. But what really kind of like gave this one a lot more oomph in my collection, I guess, is how great I think the guidebook is to go with it. This one is one I showed. So this box is terrible. Who is this by? Running Press. So this box is awful, and I have tried, because it has a magnetic closure, so I'm like, cool, it has a magnetic closure, I want to use the box. But for the life of me, I can't figure out how to fix the box. So I'll eventually have to redo it completely. This is Gentle Chaos. It is mass market deck. I already talked about the creator has himself in a card, which at first I found kind of weird until I used the deck more. And it's a lovely deck. And so I get the impression that the creator is lovely as well, even though I know nothing about them. But this is a tiny little, did I say Gentle Chaos Pocket Oracle by Tyler Gaga, aka Ghost Honey. It has a really nice, simple guidebook with like something very personal to them. They're very kind of poetic almost. And so sometimes it'll have a little anecdote from their life, or a little poem, or a little, I don't know, everyone's a little bit different. And then a really quick little write-up from some keywords for the card. It is kind of been, I mean, it looks, because of the edging and everything, like maybe a nicer deck or something, but this cardstock is totally warping all crazy, which is a little annoying, but if I like a deck, I can work through any cardstock issue on the planet, so I can get past it, but just FYI. This is another one of those like photographic decks from last year that I just really fell in love with anything photographic last year, whether it was Oracle or Tarot. It has a couple of these like illustrated cards, which are a little funky and weird, but again, this is a unique deck that just really has a sweet energy to it, and I like it a lot. And it has plenty of light and shadow and the whole nine. But I've loved photographic decks this past year, and I love a mass market photographic deck that goes with a ton of things, and that is the place that one holds. But yeah, beware box issues, beware cardstock issues. And I'm fine with it. This guy, Pocket Animal Spirit. I have all of Kim Cran's decks. This and her tarot were the last ones I acquired. Her archetype deck is like one of my top oracles of all time. This deck, that, you know, with all of her artwork, I will say it didn't appeal to me initially. I was just kind of like, I don't get it. Like, it's kind of weird. Grows with you, or it grew on me over time, and I treasure her artwork a lot. This deck and the Wild Unknown Tarot, I like her archetype artwork and the Alchemy deck infinitely more than I like these artworks, but that's also fine. I still, you know, I still like this artwork a lot. But what I like the most about this animal deck is the guidebook. It reads really well. I really like the way, she writes, obviously, in all of her cards. I like the keywords. I like the depth of this tiny little book and this tiny little tin. She's just a great deck creator that has a lot of soul and depth to her. I've always liked animal decks. The one person on TarotTube, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like animal decks. The one person that really explained their stance that really made sense to me was Janaki at Catamancy Tarot. I love the way she described why she doesn't. I do feel like Kim Cran's animal deck is really respectful and thoughtful about animal energy, but I still really liked Janaki's explanation of why she doesn't work with animal decks so much. So I'll try to remember to link that below if you're interested in hearing that perspective and seeing if it resonates for you as well. This deck is Nakisha's Oracle, and it is by it's Nakisha.com, Nakisha Vanderhoven. I found her on Etsy, I'm pretty sure. Is that true? Or did I get it from a website? I can't remember. She might be on Etsy too, but don't take my word for it. Like Sovereign Oracle, this is just an awesome deck that goes with a lot of things that can really clarify a reading, or is awesome just on its own as well. I really like her artwork. I believe it's watercolor. She's the same person that did the Badger's Forest Tarot, which I showed in my tarot video. So I originally went to her website for that tarot, and was just like, I almost didn't even get that tarot in the end and just got this oracle because I like it so much. Sorry. All it has, there's no guidebook. It just has these two cards that have all of the keywords and then a little phrase to give a little bit more depth to the card. But yeah, they work really well for intuitive reads as well. But yeah, I liked the kind of abstract, beautiful nature focus energy of these. I really like the artwork a lot, and the colors and the vibrancy of it. And yeah, it's just a great kind of workhorse oracle that can go with a lot of different things and read super well. This is the White Hare Wisdom. This is a beautiful husband-wife team. Phil and Jackie Lovesy. They are from England. And this is an indie deck. These are printed on linen finish cards. This again, like, kind of goes back to that Tasha Tudor childhood energy that really appeals to me and makes me happy. And it's funny, I'm saying this, I think it was in my tarot video though. I said I don't like when decks show animals with like human characteristic, or like dressed up in human clothes, or like wearing jewelry and stuff like that. So this is the only deck I have, I'm pretty sure it's true, that does that a little bit with this Hare individual. But what is different here is like this, I think they even write, if not children's books, like children vibe books made for adults or something, because this is like a character from a story that they have created that like you know, is magical and does all these magical things. So for some reason, even though that really bothers me in most animal oracle decks or tarot decks, this is the only one that like I'm in for this story, for this like magical Hare. So these have kind of its own little language that I think is Gaelic oriented. I could be wrong about that. But they have like little, anything where like this Spregler Day, they talk about what the word means, either in their kind of half made up language, or if it's Gaelic Drive, they talk about it. The borders of these correlate to the seasons, and so it's a 4-season kind of 4 energy, earth energy kind of oriented deck. It very much works with the Wheel of the Year and the kind of pagan witch vibe that I love. This one, I talked about the Everyday Witch in my tarot tiny deck video, but this one kind of bridges that gap between what my childhood was and what was like okay under Southern, more Christian, conservative rooted upbringing. This bridges that like children's tales and stories that were okay to the like witch, earth-centered spirituality energy that I always felt inside of myself and felt was like what I wanted to lean into if I had choices about religion when I was a young person. So this is like a important deck for me in a lot of ways that are hard for me to describe. But even if you don't have all that baggage that I just mentioned, it's just really a sweet deck. They're sweet creators. They sent a ton of like cute little freebies. And this deck reads, the biggest bummer. I should have learned my lesson by now to plug into a battery or power source while I'm filming. But that was the most I've ever lost filming a video. And it's like, I was already at the point of no return, so I have to redo. Such a drag. I don't know. So I was talking about White Hare Wisdom. Sorry, I got coffee to try and like re-energize myself after losing so much. White Hare Wisdom is a wonderful reader. It really like tells me information that is so nourishing and helpful and down to earth and grounded and like really profound that I didn't even know I was feeling or didn't even know I needed to think about. And I just have found a great deal of healing and like insight from this deck. It's such a great combo of like sweet and, you know, inner child type stuff, but also like great connection in nature and emotional self-care work and spiritual work. It's a beautiful oracle. And I can't remember if I said this in the part of the video that I lost or if I've already said it, but in all of these decks that you can just kind of throw in for clarification, I have several of them that I really like to use this way, and they're all really different aesthetically. So that's great because it can go with a lot of different decks. There's like this one, but then there's like this one that's more graphic and, you know, red and black, and then there's Sovereign. So there's like a lot of different aesthetics that I can use for all my different kind of decks, since I have such a broad range of taste in artwork. This is another one in that same vein, but a very different kind of feel to the cards, is the Earthbound Oracle. This is one of my favorite acquisitions from last year. It also is indie. You can find them on Etsy. A.L. Schwartz, I think. Skullgarden.net, but again on Etsy as well. This one was super affordable, especially given how much I love it and how beautiful I think the artwork and the cardstock is. This one I found last year goes with my Mary L deck, and that is one of my most important decks of all time to me. I use it all the time, and it is I'm really picky about what goes with it. I like things to look nice together, but like I'm not really picky. If a deck doesn't go with another deck, I'll still use them together to clarify or for whatever purposes I might need. Marielle is one where I do feel like if a deck doesn't look nice with it, it would bother me, just because the artwork in that deck is so important to me as well. So this one is so beautiful with Marielle. It goes with a lot of other things as well. It reads beautifully. It's another perfect example of no guidebook, but like the simplicity of the cards really speaks volumes. And I get so much from this deck, especially paired with something like the Marielle. It has added such a deep layer to my work with that deck that I wouldn't have expected, because it's such a deep and profound deck just on its own. So it is a wonderful, wonderful deck that I treasure, and I'm so glad I found. The Horoscope Belline. This is a mass market deck. It is French. You might even be able to find it easier from French sites. It was on Amazon at one point in like US, but it might be on there again. Oh, sorry about that. Whoa. I think mine came from France. So there is another Belline Oracle that is more historical looking than this one. This one is widely used in France. It has its own system. 1989. This is by Grimaud, which does a lot of the historic French printing of decks, I think. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know enough to speak with any authority about that. This guidebook is in French and English. It might even be in a third language. It does have, so this is one that the individual cards all have a write-up, and the write-up is really good and informative. But it has its own kind of system or spread to it that this book, the Little White Book, does not tell you very much about. But I have used the spread, even though it doesn't tell you a whole lot about it and like how to put it together. And it made sense to me and was a really good reading. And so this is one of those decks that like I can read with right out of the box. I think most people could. But it's also one I want to study a lot more in depth. I love the vibrancy of the artwork. It's one of those great decks that just kind of magically goes with a lot of different things. So this could go with something like the Aquarian Tarot. It goes great. It goes really well with historic versions of the Marseille Tarot. It just goes with a lot of things and is really beautiful. I don't know, it just has this like vintage fun feel to it that I'm really excited about. And I love the backs. I think the backs are really beautiful too. So, to my knowledge, I found out about this from the channel Waves of Your Soul. She is a French-speaking tarot reader. And according to her, this is like a very well-loved, well-used, like very popular oracle deck in France. I feel like I could use it right out of the box, even though I don't know the system super, super well, or I don't have the cultural context. So it's just a great, like, already use it, already really like it, reads really well, and really excited to learn more about it as well. So that's Horoscope Belline. Again, mass market. I'm pretty sure you should be able to still find it wherever. This guy is the Mother Mary Oracle by Alana Fairchild. She has made a lot of her decks this kind of like smaller pocket-sized version, which is great. I like her. I feel like she does a ton of research, and her writing is really beautiful, and I find it very profound and like, and you know, deeply intentional and spiritual and beautiful. What I haven't liked about some of her decks is that a lot of her decks, particularly ones like her Kali and Isis Oracle, that are, you know, should represent women of a different culture and skin color, still feel very like model beautiful women to me, and particularly like European ancestry women, or yeah, just like white model women, basically, young, perfect bodies. And that just doesn't fit for me with Kali or Isis. So that's my main problem with her decks. This one works really well for me, obviously, because it is not that vibe with this artwork. It's more abstract, and I find the artwork really beautiful. Another thing that can be hard with her, so the only other deck of hers that I have is the Rune Oracle, which is wonderful because it's Rasuli's artwork, and so it's very abstract, and I love Rasuli's artwork as well. But I have that full version of her deck, and the writing is so intense, and it's great, other than the fact that she does these like praying to Rumi kind of prayers. Those kind of weird me out, and I kind of ignore that part, but the rest of the writing is really wonderful and beautiful, but it's a lot. It's one of those that, like, if you do delve into the book, it feels like study hour, you know, like it takes some time. And so what's beautiful about these pocket renditions is you still get a snippet of her incredible writing, but it's really distilled and simplified, and easier to use. And so I got this deck. I haven't historically worked a whole lot with Mother Mary, but I got the Mysteries of the Black Madonna deck last year or the year before, and have been doing a lot of work with the Black Madonna. And because of that work, it was connecting me a lot unexpectedly. I did not expect it to go this way, but it was connecting me to a lot of my personal ancestry, which is based in southern Louisiana and France, and has very deep, more traditional Catholic, you know, or I wouldn't say traditional, culturally accepted and normative Catholic roots. And so because of that connection through the Mysteries of the Black Madonna deck, I wanted to get another Mary deck that worked with that more normalized Madonna energy. And so that's where this deck came from. And I knew getting Haitian's Mother Mary deck wasn't feasible for me financially. The Black Madonna deck was a huge stretch for me, and I knew I wouldn't be able to do her other deck. And this, I felt like, has been a very great alternative to that. So this is one that is on my altar with my Mysteries of the Black Madonna work that I do. And then last, this is another one of those, like, sort of on the edge, not really a mini deck, but it is a mini deck in the sense, and I'll tell you why. It's about the same size as Mother Mary Oracle. But one thing I love about mini decks often when they do this is that there isn't a guidebook. And so it's either like Earthbound Oracle, a simple image where you get everything you need on just from intuitively from the image, or these kind of cards, or the Mother Mary Oracle, where the guidebook is on the back. And so it's either, like with these mini decks, it's either the, you know, the size of the deck that I love, and the ability to, you know, use a lot of cards without taking up a ton of space, or it's the ease of, if you do need to work with a little bit of a guidebook or a little bit of a reference point, of having it on the back of the cards. These are the Susan Sedon Boulet cards. This is the Goddess deck, and then there is this is the Animal Spirits deck, and then there's a Goddess deck. So I have them both in this bag I made, but I keep them separate because sometimes I'll only use one deck and not the other. This is another deck that I use with my Mary L Tarot, as well as I use it for a number of other, with another number of other decks, or by itself also. But it does go really, really well with the Mary L Tarot, which I love. I just love her artwork. I think it's really beautiful also. And yeah, I don't know. This is a very well-used deck for me. I'll show you just a few of the Goddess cards too. So it has goddesses from multiple cultures, and more of her really gorgeous artwork. This is mass market deck. I think these are still available. Both of these are mass market decks. And again, these are animal spirit knowledge cards, and then goddess knowledge cards with artwork by Susan Sedon Boulet. I think they're pomegranate, maybe, is where I got these from. Okay, so that's the last of my Oracle decks. And then getting into, I'm going to show a few playing decks and then some of my like playing card alternative system decks also. Okay, these are, I showed these a little bit in my year 2023 year wrap up or whatever. But these are Studio Ghibli playing cards. I love Studio Ghibli. I had a total like Ghibli oh gosh. What do you call that when you watch everything all at once? Marathon, or it has some other word that I'm blanking on. But anyway, over Christmas for some reason, or over the holidays, when my kids were home, so some of it was like watching fun movies with them. But yeah, we watched almost all of them over the course of a week or two. And I love Ghibli. I love the artwork. I love the Japanese folklore that it all derives from. I love just the sweet messages and the, gosh, it's such like emotional, it's like big cup energy for me, whether it's Ponyo or something else, like just really emotionally evocative imagery and films that just fills me up with so many feelings. This is Kiki's delivery service and Ponyo, but these are just from Amazon. They're all Studio Ghibli affiliated, whether the studio puts these out or it's in cooperation with them, but they have all of them. They have Princess Mononoke, they have My Neighbor Totoro, they have Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, and every single card is different, which is so fun and I think so cool. So you not only get all these beautiful images from the whole length of the movies, but I haven't used these for divination yet, but I plan to. And so whether it correlates with the actual suit or not, like, you know, knowing the stories well, and probably even if you didn't know the story well, it still, you could still get a lot of information from these incredible cards. But anyway, so these are wonderful. I haven't used them for divination yet. They're relatively new, but I'm excited to use them for divination and just to play around with them and see how they work. To my knowledge, there isn't a Ghibli tarot or oracle deck, and I totally wish there was, and I know people will tell me if I'm incorrect and something exists that I'm not aware of. And I was gonna say, there's a lot of fan decks out there, even fan playing card decks. Like there's I think a Lord of the Rings playing card deck, and there's definitely a whole Harry Potter series of playing cards online. But and while they're beautiful, like I love a beautiful playing card deck no matter what, they just have like a few of them are illustrated, but then all the pips or all the minors are not illustrated. And so that was kind of a bummer for me with those decks. And so that's why I love the Ghibli, not only for divination purposes, but to have like all the different imagery to go along with divining just from the numerology and the suit. But I just love, I mean, it's the same as I said with those Rockpool decks. Like, I just love all the different images. And so that kind of separates for me what I would use as playing card divination from just like a deck that I would play cards with. Same for this bicycle unicorns deck. So there's lots of like fairy decks that Bicycle makes, but if you actually go through it, it's like just the court cards are illustrated and everything else isn't. I really like, for divination purposes, I really like these ones where everything is a different image. So yeah, this one's really cool too. And again, something you can use just with the image or just with the playing card or both. And I just like those options with playing cards for divination. So that's the unicorn deck. I want to say this was like $5 or $6, so super affordable. Okay, my last playing card set that is my absolute favorite treasure of all time. This is Mass Market. It's Patrick Valenza's work. I don't even have his most popular tarot deck. I'm blanking on the name of it. And then he has the Marseille too, that's really popular. I don't have that guy. I just have 2 of his oracles and then this. But this is like $10 or $12 mass market, and it is the most gorgeous. I honestly, in so many ways, I think this is his most amazing artwork, even more so than any of his tarot decks, and it's in playing cards. And so this is beautifully edged. The quality of it, just, it's glossy, but it's like feels really high quality. And I just find this so beautiful. He has done the entire deck with different illustrations, and then in most of them, incorporated all of the pips into these fun little creations and a lot of them have like a little key phrase or something that relates to the picture. So butterflies played in her hair for the 4 of Hearts. I just think it is like just beautiful. It's my favorite artwork of all of his artwork. Rare specimens for the 5 of Hearts. Cosmic creatures for the 6 of Clubs. I just love how he's like turned all of the suits into this like fun artwork, and then some of them are really cute or really funny. So yeah, this is one that I just love for the artwork. Pop goes the mischief for the 8 of Diamonds. And it's all these little like jack-in-the-boxes like holding bombs and stuff. I don't know. It's just so quirky and sweet, and yeah, I love it for the art. This is my favorite. Spoiled eggs. And it's all these little like naughty eggs being crazy, and these women trying to corral it. The art, the ability to use it as a playing card, which I've never done. The ability to use it as playing card divination, but also, of course, like his very interesting and intricately done illustrations, you know, using it as an oracle that way. So this one, Topsy, and then Turvy for the 9 of Diamonds. I don't know. I find this to just be lovely. This is one of my favorite cards, the 3 of Spades. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I can. Meanies and bikinis. I don't know. It's such a great deck. I love it so much. And it's my favorite playing card deck ever, for sure. And that's saying a lot, picking that over the Ghibli cards, for sure. This used to be an indie deck. This is my Rune Deck. I think it's my only Rune Deck. I have runes that I made that are on my altar that are the traditional. I made mine out of wood for casting runes that way, but I do like having these runes as cards. So this originally was an indie. It just came out mass market last year by Athene Noctua. This one's really beautiful too, and a really well done guidebook. And yeah, after reading her guidebook, the pictures make sense with the rune, but at first glance they didn't to me. And so that's one caveat with this. It's not really like illustrated runes that you can intuitively read if you don't know the runes really well already. And so I will say that about this. It's not like a use right out of the box if you've never used runes before, but I wouldn't recommend using runes that way anyway. So yeah, it's a great deck. I haven't used it a ton, to be honest. I tend to just use runes in my personal practice, and so I'm using the ones on my altar for that purpose, but I could see using these in readings potentially in the future. So I'm going to show these cards. I'm not going to show the box because it uses that G word that is a slur word for the system. But these are, I'll just say, witch fortune telling playing cards. When I first got these, I thought this was a system that was steeped in history, and it's not. Upon deeper research, I realized that this was really kind of a more random system that was generated in the 80s, 90s maybe. And again, like, maybe my source was off, but what I was able to find, there's not a ton of information about this deck. This is, I'm going to just cover up the word, but this is the deck, if you have seen it or have it. And then I was like, but at least it's like a system that includes Lenormand in it, so it's Lenormand plus, and that'll be cool. And then that's where some of these little pin marks that I've put on here came from. I started trying to correlate it to the Lenormand system, and no, it doesn't correlate with Lenormand at all. So like the 5 of Hearts and Lenormand is not the, I mean, there's not a Moon Lenormand, but anyway, I thought this was gonna include be like 2 systems in one, and it doesn't. It's truly just its own system that doesn't, as far as my research could tell, have a deeper historic correlation. All that said, I have read with this deck quite a bit, and it read super well for me. So apart from having an unnecessary title on it that I think when it was made didn't have kind of the cultural awareness around the title that it has now, wouldn't have been used, or hopefully. It is an interesting system that has read very, very well for me. I don't use it a ton just because all those things that I mentioned that I thought it was and it ended up not being. But when I have used it, with the way that they kind of give in the little white booklet, it gave a really, really strong reading. So again, I've said this in other videos, like I believe in the historic systems, and I love the way that they were created and that they're used, but I also believe there is an element of the oracle, the divine language, that speaks through anything. I mean, that's why I believe charm casting works, and you know, I think there's ways to read the symbols and the signs, and it doesn't have to be like the perfect system in order to understand what that divine language is saying to you. So hopefully I sort of explained that in a way that makes sense. So all that said, this is another system that was really created by the author Anna Cortez and her father C.J. Freeman. It is, what's it called? Playing Card Oracles, Divination Deck. So this is one that was supposed to be a study deck for this year, and I didn't end up studying it. I did look into it, and I looked through the cards a lot and read through the little white book. There's a little white book that comes with it, but there's also like a full-on published book separate from this that gives a lot more information. So I've started to go through that book, but haven't got very far. But I just really like this artwork. It's artwork that kind of, it has like this weird blend between like historic feeling artwork, even though it's not a super old system. But then it also has like a little bit of that like Patrick Valenza vibe almost to me, of being like this dark kind of modern take on historic feeling illustrations. So yeah, this is mostly I think her father's artwork, and then she kind of has this long history of growing up with this artwork and these images in her life, and I think he delved really deeply into the esoteric, and that's work that she continued throughout her life as well. So it's definitely a unique playing card system, but very interesting, and I'm excited to learn more about it and use it. But I was also just like drawn to the playing card element, which I talk about a lot, how much playing cards brought me into my love of tarot. But I'm also just really compelled by the really cool artwork too. So that's another playing card deck, and that is all of my minis, I think. So that was my mini oracles, and then I just kind of wrapped my like mini playing card and alternative playing card cartomancy collection in there. Culturally inappropriate word, but it's this Russian fortune telling cards. I'm covering up the old term that we don't use anymore. But this is a really interesting system. I got this. I got the, oh my goodness, what is that? St. Petersburg Tarot. That's not like the proper name of it, but it's close. But when I got that deck, I this popped up and I was like, ooh, I'm so interested for a lot of reasons. So this is a totally different cartomancy system. This is a mass market deck. I don't think it's still in print, but there's lots of copies all around. And it was super affordable. So this is its own system, and this book is really great. It explains the system super well. So it not only tells you a ton of information about each card, but it tells you how to do this like really different spread. And so this one is cool, and what really appealed to me is that you lay it out, you know, randomly, so to speak, the way that you would intentionally lay out any sort of spread. But then what you read is where you do this random layout, and anytime the image is matched with each other, that's the part of the spread that you read. And so this is a lily, and you would look up lily in the book, and then there's these directional pieces to it, depending on which way it's pointing, has a divination element to it. And then, yeah, again, you would just read the parts that are connected together. So it's a really cool system. And my mom is a quilt maker and has been a quilt maker her whole life. So there's like this quilted element that really was special and cool to me. And it just has this like, yeah, it's feels like very folklore rich or based, and the style of the artwork is really cool in that way. So that's my final like other kind of cartomancy system that I've done several readings with this. I think it's really cool, but I definitely would not say do it for anyone else or say that I'm an expert by any means. Very reliant on the book, and but again, just like all cartomancy, like across cultures, like a lot of the symbols speak, transcend culture, transcend language. That's the beautiful nature of archetypes, and so that's true in these cards as well. So that is it. That is all of my, I did Marseille, Tarot, Lenormand in my first video, and then this was all of my mini Oracle decks, as well as like small playing card and alternative cartomancy system cards. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll kind of spread these out. I did not expect these first ones to be so long, but I should have. But yeah, this was just like a bit of my Oracle tarot collection, my card collection that I will spread out over the course of this year, since I'm doing a very low buy year. I thought that would be a good time to kind of do some collection videos and show you what I work with. So I will certainly respond to questions or comments that you leave for me and try and point you in the right direction if you have any questions. I'd love like or subscribes. Those always are so wonderful to see people who get any sort of value from what I show or talk about. And I will try to link as many things as I can down below. I won't be able to do 100% of everything, but hopefully I did a good job pointing out names of things and authors of things so that you can track things down too. Anyway, I hope you are doing well. I hope you're having a great 2024 so far, and I will see you soon. Bye.